Welcome to Sleepy Tales. My name is Mateus, and before we begin today's story, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below saying, "I'll sleep well tonight." Now, sit back, relax, and let's dive into tonight's tale. It was just another ordinary day at Hamilton High School. The students were busy attending classes, chatting with friends in the hallway, and looking forward to the weekend. Little did they know that their world was about to be turned upside down. Around midday, the school went into lockdown. The teachers quickly secured their classrooms, locking doors and windows, and telling students to stay quiet and hidden. At first, nobody knew what was going on. Maybe it was just a drill or a false alarm. But as the minutes turned into hours, the truth became clear. There was an intruder in the school, and nobody knew who or where they were. The students sat huddled together in their classrooms, their hearts racing with fear and uncertainty. Some tried to text their parents or friends, hoping for a response, but the phones were all dead. Others listened intently to the sounds outside, trying to pick up any clues or hints of what was happening. Meanwhile, the teachers were doing their best to keep the students calm and focused. Miss Parker, the English teacher, tried to distract her class by reading a story aloud. Mr. Nguyen, the math teacher, paced back and forth, muttering to himself and checking his phone every few minutes. And then there was Mr. Wilson, the gym teacher, who had barricaded his class with all the equipment he could find. But despite their efforts, the situation was growing more and more dire. The intruder seemed to be getting closer, with the sound of footsteps echoing down the hallways. Suddenly, there was a loud banging on Miss Parker's classroom door. Everyone froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. "Who is it?" she called out, trying to keep her voice steady. "It's me, Tyler," came the muffled reply. Tyler? That was one of her students. She quickly unbolted the door and let him in, relieved to see that he was unharmed. But as he stumbled into the room, she noticed something strange about him. He was wearing a hoodie and a baseball cap, pulled low over his eyes. And he was clutching something in his hand. "Tyler, what's going on? Why are you dressed like that?" she asked, her eyes widening in alarm. But before he could answer, there was a sudden commotion outside. Shouts and screams echoed down the hallway, and the sound of gunfire filled the air. Miss Parker quickly locked the door again, pushing a cabinet against it for extra security. "What's happening?" Tyler asked, his eyes wide with fear. "I don't know," Miss Parker replied, trying to stay calm. "We need to stay quiet and hidden. Maybe they'll pass us by." But they didn't. The intruders soon found them, pounding on the door with a fury that made the whole room shake. Miss Parker looked around frantically, trying to find something to defend herself and her students. That's when she saw the object in Tyler's hand, a large pair of scissors. "Tyler, give me those scissors," she said, holding out her hand. But instead of handing them over, Tyler lunged at her, his eyes gleaming with madness. Miss Parker stumbled back, knocking over a desk, as Tyler came at her again and again with the scissors. The other students screamed and scrambled to get out of the way, but there was nowhere to go. The room was too small, and Tyler was too fast. The explosion was followed by a sudden darkness, and then the sound of someone calling out from the hallway. It was the principal, shouting that the police had arrived and that the lockdown was over. Miss Parker and her students emerged from the classroom, still trembling with fear and shock. They looked around to see the chaos that had overtaken the school, broken windows, overturned desks, and bloodstains on the walls. As they made their way to the exit, they saw several police officers in the hallway, holding down a young man with a hoodie and a baseball cap. It was Tyler. He was struggling and shouting, his eyes wild and crazed. Miss Parker felt a wave of disbelief wash over her. Tyler had been her student for 2 years, always quiet and polite. How could he have done something like this? As the days and weeks went by, the truth slowly began to emerge. Tyler had been suffering from severe mental illness, which had gone unnoticed and untreated. He had been hearing voices in his head, telling him to do terrible things. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the revelation that the lockdown itself had been a hoax. Tyler had made up the story about an intruder in the school, just to create chaos and confusion. And in the chaos, he had carried out his own twisted plan. Miss Parker couldn't believe it. The school had been locked down for hours, and nobody had suspected a thing. It was a terrifying reminder of how vulnerable we all are, and how easily our sense of safety and security can be shattered. From that day on, Miss Parker made a vow to always pay attention to her students' mental health, and to never take anything for granted. She knew that the events of that day would stay with her forever, a reminder of the darkness that lurks within us all. Thank you for listening to this bedtime story, and remember, if you struggle with falling or staying asleep at night, click on the first link in the description for the ultimate solution to your problem. Now, choose one of these 2 videos and continue on our journey in the world of bedtime stories.